Hello guys, this is Jay, and welcome to my journey. So after I left Arizona and heading towards San Diego, I noticed that the sand started changing color right before my eyes. It went from a dark reddish orange tints to a more brighter brown and lighter colors. Kind of remind me of Kuwait when I was stationed out there in the military. Only difference is there's hills and more sand dunes, and Kuwait was more flatlandish and a lot of camels. I noticed when I was driving that there was a sign that said, "Do not pick up hitchhikers. Call 911 if you do." And I think it was a heat hazard. Luckily, Sugar and I had a vehicle to drive in. And as we were driving along these sand dunes, it eventually changed from sand dunes to grasslands. Of course, it was more of like the type of hay that you feed horses. And I noticed when I was driving by, there was these signs that were saying, "Burn a bell, go to jail." I thought it was funny because it rhymed. And then on our way to San Diego, we made it through the mountaintops. Of course, they were more rockier than the ones in Arizona. They seemed like they were more dense, brown color, and with luster, while the ones in Arizona looked like it was made from softer sediments, much more redder, or red color, and less luster. On our way to San Diego, when we traveled through the Rocky Mountains, the scenery started to change, started to traverse into more vegetation, more open lakes, cabins, places out in nature to where you could do some trail walkings and sightseeing. Of course, I was in this fight and flight mode, and something told me just to focus on San Diego, focus on San Diego, go to the beach in San Diego. Or, it didn't say go to the beach yet, until I arrived there. After I arrived there, I noticed that there was riots going on, or how would I say this? I wouldn't say a riot. I already forgot what it's called. If someone's watching this, please comment down below. There's just people, I guess, marching down the streets, complaining about ICE deporting people back to Mexico. Once we got in the downtown area, Sugar and I decided to go to the beach. When we arrived to the beach, the sand was very white and the ocean was crystal clear sapphire. Very deep blue, very beautiful. Of course, there was rocks with algae cover it, where there was like these pockets filled with water where the waves crashed in and filled the holes, and people doing tai chi on top. And also too, the water is very cold. Sugar and I realized it was very cold. After we spent our time in the beach and socializing with a few people because they wanted to see my dog, I decided to pick up a foraging snack. Can you guys guess what it is? Kelp. That's right, kelp. I know some people think that's crazy, but I did do my research and I realized kelp is nutrient dense. Not only it's a great protein source, but also rich in vitamin K and iron. Only thing that plants lack is B12. Of course, you can get that from dairy products, meat, and eggs. Luckily, or B12 supplements. But I consider myself a practicing lacto-vegetarian. Still haven't decided yet if I want to go back to eating meat or not. The journey continues until we decided to hit a rest stop. Of course, we kind of made loops around. I kind of went back and forth, trying to figure out what feels right. I finally stopped at an area to where it was kind of scenic, I would say. Little trail to walk on, and ground squirrels. Ground squirrels, which by the way, I didn't even know that even exist until I came to California. I thought only kind of squirrels that exist are the ones in the trees, but apparently I was wrong. And I saw them with their little babies, you know, playing, having a good time. I wish I recorded because it was very adorable and cute. After staying the night, waking up the next morning, do my hygiene, do my sink bath, which is I'm so proud of. Hey, I gotta do myself, you know. Sugar and I continue our journey towards LA. Of course, on our way to LA, I felt this deep inner knowing or intuition kicking in. This sensation that I felt was in my heart and gut area that told me to go on this hiking trail. At first, I kind of ignored what my body said and continued driving. As farther away I go, anxiety started kicking in. I don't know why, I just started feeling this really intensity in my body that's saying, turn around, turn around. Finally, it was like my body had a mind of its own and decides to turn around and head back to the trail. After we arrived at the trail, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do next. Until we bumped into a guy and his son on the bikes. He was carrying a surfboard. He asked me to take a picture of them. And of course, the kind of person I am, I like being service to people. I love helping people out. After I gave him a picture, he was talking about how the waves are great in this one location. And then when he was talking, it was like my intuition kicked in again, that same sensation. But it was like specifically about two things, which I'll get to here shortly. He was talking about the beachhead, how where he was going to go was based off where it's like right in front of an island with a pile of driftwood piled up. I was planning on following him down the road until he was going across a gated community. Of course, I think he's a resident there, and I don't think they just let anyone in. I was planning on trying to walk through, but then my body resisted. It said, turn around. And I was like, okay. And so Sugar and I went on our little hike through the trails, seeing the area where the indigenous people used to reside in, which is in a valley area. There was teepees there where people can rent out and stay overnight, or they can rent out a space and park their vehicle or trailer there. Finally, it was time for Sugar and I to leave. We head towards LA, and something told me to go to the beachhead again. And I was about to put it in the GPS until my phone died. At first I was kind of freaking out, panicking because I was low on gas, didn't know where I was, and then my intuition kicked in after seeing a steep hill where people are residents, and you know there's many houses on this hilltop. I thought it was Beverly Hills, but then come find out later it was in Signal Hill in Long Beach, California. After I reached to the hilltop, I finally found out which direction I was going to go. After we arrived in Baltimore shores, I looked to the right of me, and what do you know? There was an island right there. Of course, it's not the same island that this guy was talking about, because this guy lived in a whole different area. I don't think he knew what he was saying was going to lead me to something else, you know. It was almost like the universe was communicating to me in some way, shape, or form through the outside world. And then when we got along the shores, what do you know? Pile of driftwood. And it was like the life was telling me, here, let me see, telling me that you have a place to rest in. That's what the island represents. But then the driftwood that was like getting washed in and out from the pile, it's not a stable one. Or at least it's telling me that I'm going to continue my journey. It got darker that day, and I looked like a homeless person, of course. I was dressed in this little drug dealer jacket, I like to call it. Sugar said hello. And some grimy jogging pants. I had a beard and hair grown out. A lady stopped by and offered me food. Luckily it was vegetarian, or I wouldn't eat it. I would just give it to my dog. And I told her, oh, by the way, I'm not homeless. Well, I look like one because I was walking around barefooted too. I told her I was far, far away from home, but I did tell her I appreciate the food. She kind of had a puzzled look on her face, but she was kind and we were polite. I was trying to ask her questions about the area. Of course, she wasn't from the area. Of course, I was really concerned about where I was going to park, because where I was parking at now, the latest you can stay is 12 a.m. Until I started following my inner guidance and found my next spot, which was across from a public shower that I can park for a full week. Sorry about that, guys. I was running out of data on my phone. Probably need to just start uploading this onto my laptop and delete. Deep cleaning on my iPhone so I don't have to worry about this. But I did find this place to park at for a whole week until Thursday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. After that, I can start the whole cycle again. So the biggest takeaway, a part of this journey, is that follow your intuition, follow your hearts, follow your guts, and trust what life brings you. Like, especially with that island driftwood, that was a symbology of shelter temporarily. And what do you know, life brought me in where I needed to be. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this video, please leave a like. Also to subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more content. And also to comment in the section down below. Ask me questions. I love to answer them. I would like to do other video vlogs, maybe perhaps without it having to do with my journey. Maybe we can get more metaphysical or esoteric. I love esoteric stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being a part of my journey. I love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye for now.